This is me. And these are my kids. And this is our life. And this is our TikTok. Well, technically it's my TikTok, but you'll see the kids here. You get the gist. I have to keep on reminding you guys every time that I put out any content that is old content, that it's just old content. So when you see me in this content and I look visibly smaller in my pregnancy, it's because it's old content. That's why. It's amazing what I have to give a disclaimer about, because people don't listen, people don't read, people don't pay attention. So just an FYI. I'm off work. An hour and a half past my shift, but I'm off. So I'm getting off of work late because it was brought to my attention while I was working. By 7:30, I called my boss, and it turns out we didn't have any night coverage because there was an error with the scheduling. The nurse that would usually be relieving me was at home getting ready to go to bed after working I think she worked a triple. Before her shift that she worked, when I relieved her, she came from the same case that she went back to the next morning. So yeah, she had worked a triple, and these are all 12-hour shifts. So she was under the impression that she was definitely off, and that's what she was told, but that was not the case in fact, obviously. So I didn't make a fuss about it, and who doesn't want extra money? I stayed and I waited for her to arrive, and it put me back an hour and a half, but who doesn't like money? I did end up having to do her 8 p.m. med pass, but it was totally fine. I was just glad that she was coming in to relieve me, because I don't know about you guys, but when I leave work, once I am off the premises of my patient's property where they reside, any call following that is liable to be completely ignored because I'm off the clock. And nowhere in anything I have ever signed says I'm getting paid for conversations off the clock. And the real fear about answering calls when you're off the clock as an agency nurse is that somebody wants you to come back into work. So for sanity's sake and for peace, when I get off of work, I'm off of work. It's not personal, but I'm off of work. It's the only thing that I can admit is the huge difference between facility work and agency work. When you work for a facility, if they have a shortage or someone calls out, they'll call you, they'll leave you a voice message. They're probably calling a plethora of other nurses anyway. When you do agency work and the family's particular about who they want to come in, and if you happen to be that nurse, the calls are not going to stop. The things that I've seen people try and negotiate through nursing to get you to come back to work a shift is ridiculous, but to each its own. Getting home and walking through my front door will forever be the best part of my day. Now I'm home, I'm free, and I can just relax, unwind. So I remember this part of my pregnancy since it was my second trimester, and I tried to get into the habit of having a hot cup of tea every single evening, because Jack started moving and he was very, very aggressive, and his little butterfly flutter kicks eventually quickly evolved into him just rolling around like he owned the place. So having a nice hot cup of tea before bed with herbs that are made and meant to help you relax your mind and your body has been helping him sleep through the night, because this was the beginning. This was only the beginning. He was up all night having parties in my uterus. He was a busy little boy. Of course, as soon as I get in the door, unless I'm really, really tired, as soon as I get in the door, we're going straight to the bathtub so I can scrub off all these germs from not only my patient's home, but just the outside world. Kids are such little germlets. I said this before. I said this in my other TikTok about how I got COVID. They're little germlets. They'll be totally fine transferring all types of God knows what to adults, and we feel like we're dying. So the best thing you can do when you work in medicine is to prioritize your personal protective equipment. Wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. If you've got cold like flu like symptoms, obviously to wear a mask. I know nurses that take off their scrubs in their garage with their shoes. They don't even bring them into the house on their body, just to avoid transferring germs. I know nurses who change their clothes before they go home from work just to avoid the transfer of germs. It's that serious. And since COVID came out, it's just that much more serious than it used to be. Like every other year, they're coming out with a new thing to kill us. So, and it's that season. It's that season. COVID doesn't have a season. COVID never went away. So, precaution is necessary. If I had the patience to undress and take my scrubs off, as soon as I got in my front door, I would. But I don't. So the next best thing is to strip down, hop into the tub, relax, put my clothes in the dirty hamper, and just enjoy some time to, completely decompress from the entire day, the entire work week. My entire pregnancy, I have religiously been using Epsom salts. I'm on my feet. I want to say for the most part, not too much, but when I do get on my feet and I do have to lift and I do have to move around, that shit starts to wear on my legs. It does. I'm pulling extra weight now. So these salts really, really have just been amazing. Any kind of salts, any kind of Epsom salts, but I specifically always get, the ones that are either by, is it Dr. Teal's? Because I love those products. I love the entire line. I have the bubble bath. I have the Epsom salts. And then alternatively, the other ones that I always get off Amazon, and they are specific to pregnancy needs. And they work like a charm. It really matters. You'll notice it works when you don't use it and you feel like shit. Like physically, achy, everything. As it is mentioned that with me being on my feet and, being up and down and moving and picking up the baby and putting the baby down and chasing after the baby half the time at work, I definitely have been focusing not just on my baby bump, but on my legs, on my calves and my thighs to promote circulation, because we need these legs to get to where we need to go. And I need them not to be sore and stopping me. I have definitely fallen off of my shaving routine as of now, because the footage I'm showing you is old. This was before I couldn't see my own kitty cat box anymore. This was before my stomach was actually physically in the way to the point that I couldn't do certain things anymore. But at this particular time, I had a routine of shaving my legs, if not every day, at least every other day. Because any day could be the day that you end up having to go to the hospital for God knows what, and they're gonna pop you open like a Thanksgiving turkey. You might as well be, hair free. White rice is a no-brainer. That's what the rice maker is for. Before I got a rice maker, when I tell you I could not make rice, I can make anything else under the sun, but I cannot get rice right. And even if I follow the directions, like step by step by step, I always screw it up, and it's so simple, and I think that's why I screw it up. So I got a rice maker. So you just dump it in there, you put the water in there, and then you can blame the machine if it comes out shitty. And it's been working like a charm for me, so I'm never giving it up. I am so bad at making rice. Something had to give. I didn't even buy rice or make rice for years because I could not get it right. It either came out like mashed potatoes or it came out still crunchy. But with this rice maker, life is so much simpler and it's easy, and I love it for that. The boys already had dinner. While I was at work, I did DoorDash them something, but I specifically was craving salmon. So for dinner, I made myself salmon honey garlic salmon to be more specific, string beans, and white rice. The way that I cook my string beans is new, but it comes out perfect every single time. I don't use water. I use chicken stock or beef stock. I use that in place of my water, bring that to a boil, throw my string beans in there, and then I add some salt and pepper, and it comes out perfect. I grew up having string beans that were more traditional in the Black community, so there was always like, it was always on a slow cook, and there was always like a part of a pig tossed in there. If it was like the neck, or like pig neck or pig ankles or pig earlobes, I don't know what, I just know it was a part of an animal that was put in there. It would help make the string beans more flavorful, but I'm not doing all that. I'm not. So I use chicken stock or beef stock, and it comes out perfect to taste. Like, you don't even need a lot of salt and pepper, just a little bit, just to flavor, to taste. I love it this way, and that's why every time I make string beans, I do it this way. And this is the only time that I can get Joshua, who eats everything like a damn vacuum, this is the only time I can get him to eat string beans. But like I said, he and Jaden already ate. This is for me. On my salmon, I added honey, soy sauce, lemon juice. I put some lemon slices on it as well on top, and I added salt, pepper, and some paprika. And then I covered it and let it just, like, you know, absorb with all the juice and the flavors. And then I basted a couple of times. Talk about food porn. So good. I got this marinade from another recipe. I think it was from like chicken wings that I made earlier in the year. And I was just like, this is so good. Let me put it on everything. So I've tried this on chicken. I've tried this on salmon. Actually, that's about it. I've tried it on chicken wings and salmon, and it's really good each and every time. You cannot go wrong. It just goes, they complement each other. All the flavors together complement each other so nicely. Also, I go grocery shopping every 2 weeks. Sometimes I do it weekly. Depends on like what I made, or if something went bad, or if I wasted some food. But what I do when I go grocery shopping is I look at the last grocery order, and I base what protein I get with the next grocery order on what I got with the last grocery order. Like twice a month we'll have salmon. We frequent chicken, we frequent ground turkey, we frequent cod or whiting. And then we have meals that have nothing, like no meat in them whatsoever. I could just replace the protein with like beans or something like that, just so we have a nice healthy balance. Based on my grocery list is when and how I determine whether or not I'm going to buy steak. I don't buy any other red meat except for steak, and like I said, I only have that like every 6 months maybe. But I do base it off of the last grocery list. And I find that I can balance like so much better. You know, we're getting it all. Plus, as a person who gets very, very bored very, very quick with foods that are like I excessively make, I like being able to have that rotation. So it gives all my groceries the opportunity to actually be tasted, because I don't know what it is. I just can't stand eating the same thing every single solitary day. I'm the queen of I'm not eating those leftovers. I cannot stand it. I don't know what it is. Maybe my taste buds have ADHD or something. Alrighty, it is time to take it down and go to bed. I take my prenatal vitamin before I go to bed and after I've definitely already had dinner or something on my stomach. That way I don't have any side effects that come with taking prenatal vitamins on an empty stomach, which is usually like headache, nausea, vomiting. I don't want none of that. I have not had morning sickness a single day in my pregnancy, and I'm not about to start getting sick now. All the other things I've gotten sick from, let's avoid getting sick because we took a prenatal vitamin on an empty stomach. Until next time. Mwah.